So I was just scrolling one day through the absolute garbage heap of a website we call Roblox, trying to find a game to excite me. Now usually this would have ended in failure, as the front page is absolutely plagued with brainwash slop, but to my surprise I actually did find the game. Its name was Duality. It didn't seem like anything special at first until I saw its description about a young boy's struggle as he journeys through early adulthood, and it instantly resonated with me as I am an early adult myself. Thus, intending to find out what the game is about, I joined the game. And what happened next changed me forever. So join me as I recount my experience of this masterpiece through the lens of its protagonist, Rui. It started out as any normal day would. Our dear buddy hops out of bed and decides to go to his college. Along the way, he chats with numerous people, which I have no idea why he does, the objective just tells me to, and gets to school. Inside, he meets his two friends. They greet us and strikes up a conversation, teasing him about being late and not doing his homework, finally inviting him to skate with them, to which he declines, saying he is busy. Thus, the three of them wraps up the convo and gets to class. After school, Rui laments about whether to go skating with Zach and Dave for once, even though he's always felt so awkward going outside, because maybe this time it wouldn't be so bad. Unfortunately for Rui, these friends of his were complete arses, because not long after, he goes to a grocery store to buy something to eat. He finds Zach and Dave there having a conversation discussing about him. Yep, this is when we learn that Zach and David really ain't Rui's pals. They just think Rui is weird and pity him, that's why they hang out with him. In the process of this insult, we also learn that Rui has social anxiety and can't communicate with people well. Thus, when they extended the invitation to skate, they just laughed it up, saying Rui wouldn't come anyways because of his social anxiety. This baffled Rui as he sprinted home, wondering why they are like this, as they were his day ones. Why did his HPs betray him like that? And why did they befriend him on the first day of school if they didn't like him from the very beginning? These train of thoughts played Rui's mind as he fell into a deep sleep, wishing to forget about all of these. As Rui wakes up, he finds himself in the midst of a flower field, atop of a pathway to nowhere and underneath the darkened sky. Wonders to himself, where is he and what is this place? Sadly, all that responded to him was silence. So Rui picked up the nearest lantern and started walking on the path, not knowing where to, but only that he had to continue. In the midst of his journey, he tells us a little about himself, about how he loved flowers when he was little. He even dreamed of growing a garden when he gets older, but alas, the dream was nothing but a childhood impulse, as he never got to grow that garden he once dreamed. Meanwhile, while we were told the childhood dreams of Rui, he had already walked to a nearby bench, with a person sitting on top of it whose name we shall call So. So seems surprised that there is now a person sitting next to him, and tells Rui that he is blind and very scared of this dark and unknown place. But soon that fear turns to excitement as he recognizes a sense of familiarity from Rui's voice and tells him that he must know what this place is, to which Rui responds in a hurry that he feels this place is familiar, but he doesn't know what this place is, leaving So speechless. Still, So didn't give up, telling Rui that this garden they were in were once bright, sunny, and beautiful, and then something happened that plunged the entire field to darkness, leaving So there. So tells Rui that everything that happened here was because of his past, and tells him not to give up and to continue forward. He tells Rui to continue forward and to reach the end of this tunnel of darkness to get something that will get them both out of there, reminding him that he doesn't have much time left. Puzzled, Rui left but continued to walk, with doubts still on his mind. Not long after, he reaches a wall of eyes. Underneath it is a single piano. Perhaps stricken by grief, Rui walks towards the piano and starts opening up more while grooming the piano, telling us that he used to play the piano before and that his dad used to play the piano too, until he unfortunately passed away. After that, everything went downhill. His mother completely changed. Stricken with grief, she became violent. At first, he believed his mother was just grieving. Give him more time and they will get through this together. But sadly, that's not how the story ended. She became increasingly violent, cutting off all communication with Rui, and even broke the piano that his dad gave to him, the piano that held all the good memories of them together. Once upon a time, on a day full of thunder, young Rui was found crying in his bed by his dad due to the terrors of the thunderstorm. He held Rui's hands and started leading Rui downstairs to the piano and played a melody that Rui has never heard before. A wonderful melody that wiped all the tears and fears out of him. Overcome by courage, Rui's dad suggested he learn that melody, and so he did. By the time he finished, it was already midnight, and even though the thunder was still there, he didn't feel scared anymore. It's like the piano took away every scary feeling, leaving him fearless and courageous. Ah, good memories, eh? The Rui snaps out of his remnants and starts playing the piano in front of him. Perhaps he's been longing for a long time as he hasn't forgotten the melody and played it fluently despite not playing for years, leaving him at a peace and tranquility he hasn't felt in a long time. The next time Rui wakes up again, he's in another world. This time in a world as bright as a sheet of paper with paths and objects looking like they were drawn out of a children's playbook. Confused at where he is now, he started to walk, following the arrows that point into a gate that could be opened with a green button. Inside, he spots another gate, but this time it requires some obstacles to get past. Locked behind those obstacles are blocks needed to open the gate. One stuck behind an invisible wall, the other behind an obby. But that didn't stop Rui as he breezed past it and brought the two blocks to the gate. The gate, sensing the blocks were in the proper position, dropped and allowed him to pass through it. But this time, there was nothing after the gate, just himself, all alone in this empty world. It didn't take long for Rui to start overthinking as he started to criticize himself, hating that nobody will ever get to know him and just labels him as weird, hating that he can't communicate with other people properly, hating that there's so much wrong with him as he sinks into the darkness once again. Suddenly, a figure jumps out and lunges at him, yelling that it's all his fault as he jumps from the bed, waking up from the nightmare, cheeks sweating, hearts racing, and decides to go to school. Yep, despite having the most god-awful nightmare known to Earth, he still cares about going to class, alright? And so he quickly leaves and sprints for his class, but even though he has woken up from his nightmare, the nightmare is far from over. Overwhelmed by the people conversing around him and sickened by his own loneliness, he leaves the class in a hurry and into the bathroom, where he washes up and decides to leave the school. Rui runs back home with the hopes of being able to calm down once he's home, but contrary to his expectations, he didn't calm down. Instead, it got worse as he started to have an anxiety attack and unleashes a torrent of emotions until he collapsed. When he awakened again, he was at an unfamiliar place yet again. Why is he always in some weird-ass dream all the time? I don't know, but at least the environment looks pretty friendly with a pretty house, lush green grass, and a blue sky. It looks pretty peaceful, all things considered. So after some deliberation, Rui decided to go inside the house, and inside was nothing but a detached voice. He asked the voice why it grows so many flowers here, and the voice replies, because the flowers are beautiful. He then elaborates how each flower has its own fragile and wonderful traits, possibly hinting to our protagonist on a different perspective on how he should view himself. Sadly, before Rui can reflect, he is thrown into the same environment again, except this time, it's more monotonous and depressing. Inside the house, there lies something. A beautiful blue flower. But before he could marvel at it, the flower was ruthlessly cut into dozens of pieces, awakening Rui from his third nightmare with a jolt. Upon awakening, still zoned out from the previous event, decided to go outside for a breath of fresh air. Clearly distraught, he walks into the middle of a road and gets run over by a car. Well, that's what should have happened, except he gets saved by an unknown guy wearing a bucket with two horns on top. The guy expressed his concern for Rui and introduced himself as Andy and asked for his name, to which he responded as Rui. Now knowing each other, Andy strikes up a conversation with Rui, speaks a bunch and clearly interested in this person named Rui that's in front of him. He asks how he's feeling, how he's doing, and how long has he been in this town, yada yada. Finally, Andy stops and asks Rui if he would like pizza and they could share together. To our surprise, Rui doesn't decline the offer, even holding a little expectation to that little adventure. Maybe it's because of Andy's charisma, or maybe it's his enthusiasm and honesty that caused this small but significant ripple to Rui. At the pizza place, Andy asks Rui what would he like to order, to which our shy protagonist answers, I don't know. But that's fine too, as Andy suggested his favorite, pepperoni pizza. After the pizza arrives, Andy asks Rui about his time at school and how he must know a lot of people since he's been here for a long time. But contrary to his expectations, Rui said that he has only been here for 2 months and doesn't know much. As expected, after Rui said that, Andy invited Rui to go out sometime soon so they could get to know each other better and be friends, to which Rui didn't reject and they exchanged numbers and finished the pizzas. Outside the pizzeria, Rui gets introduced to a surprise guest whose name goes by Cloak. He's a disaster friend as quoted jokingly by Andy. At first glance, Cloak looks mean and a bit of a prankster, but as you get to know him, you'll find that he's a really upstanding guy, not afraid to make new friends, very welcoming to Rui, and even welcomes him into the group despite only knowing him for a few minutes. After the introduction, the two pairs, Andy and Cloak, start reminiscing of their previous interactions. Every word, every sentence out of their mouths sounded like fun, full of adventure and spirit. As I continued to listen to their convos, it made me think that this moment is what duality really embodied. It made me think that maybe life isn't all just full of downs. Maybe you can still get up after falling down. Just like how Rui started off, a miserable, friendless loser. Bullied by his day once, I was feeling very depressed. To having two bros that obviously care for him now. One's energetic and kind, the other's mischievous with a big heart. They taught me that after rain, there's always sun, no matter how rainy and how bad it gets. As long as he perseveres through the dark tunnels, no matter how dark, there will always be an end. And they will always light the light that will radiate so brightly, it makes all the perseverance worth it. So thank you.